Another very powerful feature of ArtsMagna is the capability to adjust selection of records altogether. We call it modify, and this feature is available within a few of the back office module of ArtsMagna. So we will show this feature, demonstrate this feature within the stock module in inventory, and we will show in particular the capability to adjust pricing to stock into a selection of item of stock. The important thing here is probably finding the right selection. Just one quick word of warning on this feature. This feature is not undoable. So once you apply the feature, once you apply the modify to a selection of records, those records are changed, but there is no way to undo that back to where it was. What I'm going to demonstrate here, I'm going to just find a group of items, so say show, and obviously I could do a query by brand and select only the item that belong to brand ring, for example, or I could say find a certain supplier or certain model, or you could go into the query editor and do a complex query where you create a selection based on multiple parameters. Once you have found that selection, I'm going to assume that that selection at the moment is made out of 3 items, 1, 2 and 3 only. So, but it could have been anything. So we've got the selection that we want to apply to. Rather than 3, it could have been 3,000. It makes no difference. We can see there the sale price of these items. We highlight the 3 products, and what we can do is we just simply click on the utilities button and select the modify feature. Within the modify feature, we've got access to several parameters. We can change the location of an item, we can change whether we want them published to the website or not through the video catalog. We can select, change the selling price and the recommended retail price to specific prices. So we want to make them, for example, all of these items $1,500 each or $3,000 each or whatever in the sale price, and $4,000 each in the recommended retail price. We can also change the category, we can change the description of the products, we can change the supplier code, etc. So there is a huge amount of things that we can apply, and we can do this multiple at once. So we could simultaneously adjust the price, adjust the description, adjust the brand, and then apply that, and all of those items highlighted in the selection will actually receive those changes. Obviously we are affecting here the sale price and the recommended retail price, which is also inside the product. So if we go inside the product card, we can see there is a sale price and the recommended retail price, so we can adjust those two, for example. So I reselect the group, reselect modify, and what I can do is, as I said, I can either go in here. One way of adjusting the price is determine a set price. So I can say I want to make all of these items, for example, I want to make them $1,500 sales price, and I want to make them $3,000 recommended retail price. If I do green tick, we can see here the sale price to all of them is gone to $1,500, and if I go inside one, the recommended retail price is gone to $3,000. So that's one way, obviously, of adjusting the prices, which makes sense when you've got big selection of similar products, obviously. The second option to adjust the pricing is based through the modify, is based on the markup. So what we can do is we can tell the system to remark these prices based on the cost price, and we want to use a slightly different markup. So say that originally when we mark them up, we'd mark them up with a 100% markup. So if I do green tick, this now rebrings those prices, starting from cost, is doubling them up. What I could do is I could at this point reselect them all and say modify and say no, 100 is not what I want. I might want to use 120 to take care of GST or to take care of other aspects before that as well, because the unit last price does not include GST and the selling price in ArtsMagna includes GST. So I'll change it to 120, go green tick, and basically at any moment in time I can keep adjusting this whichever way I want, knowing that my markup modification is being applied onto the cost, which doesn't change. So I can always readjust them all based on that. So this is the second system to apply price change. The third way to apply a price change in ArtsMagna is based on a percentage difference on this, on what already are the selling and recommended retail price. So in this example, what I'm going to show you now is, for example, say that we've got this pricing here at the moment for the product, the sale price. They're the only one we can display. The recommended retail we can't display. But what I can do is I can go in here and I can say that I want this recommended I want that it is their selling recommended retail markup. So if I go in here and put in here 5% or say 10, which is a bit easier to read, what it will do is it will adjust the selling price to be 10% on top of what it is now. So I will do 142560 times 10%. And what I can also do is I can tell him that I want him to match the recommended retail price equal to sale. So it will apply this also to the selling price, so they will both be identical. So if I do a green tick now, okay, there it is there. All of those three prices have been increased by 10%. As you've noticed at the moment, the system is not rounding up this. This isn't simply an adjustment in the setup. If we've got our setup, obviously normally the setup would be adjusted so that we have a value of rounded that we like. So if I say round it to the nearest dollar or to the nearest 10 or 100 or 1000, whatever. So if I've got to the nearest dollar rather than 0, because I had 0 before, which means no rounding, and I reapply to this selection another 5% price increase, for example. So I go here, do modify and say equal and make it 5% extra. You can see now that they're all rounded to the nearest dollar. And yeah, so this is a very, very powerful feature, a very quick way to select products. For example, say you've got properly categorized in your system your gold items, silver items. There is a big increase in gold price at the moment. You want to select all your gold items and remark them up. You can, or you can just do a price increase to a certain items. You can also apply to documents, because ArtsMagna obviously offers you the capability to find a selection of items through a document. So if you know the document ID, you can do a query. You can query based on the document ID. This will give you in ArtsMagna here a selection of all those items that belongs to those documents, and then you can apply the price change to that particular document only, knowing that that document just came in, or you know, it came in 6 months ago, a big invoice, lots of items, but the gold price has changed radically since then. The last thing I wanted to show you is obviously this feature will also work backwards. So obviously what we did here was we did a modification and we applied a 5 and then a 10 and then a 5. So I can go backwards and say -5, green tick, and I can then reapply it again and say -10. Now obviously we didn't have the rounding before, so the values won't be absolutely identical, but as you can see the value there 1565, and then I do green tick, it's gradually bringing it back down, so rather than up. And this concludes the presentation for now.